Bismillah, alhamdulillah, wa salatu wa salamu ala rasulillah, amma ba'd. In lesson 30, we began this topic of review. This is our last lesson of review in alamatul i'rab, the last session. Insha'Allah ta'ala, in our study of alamat al-i'rab. What that means is, after tonight's review of lesson 30 and our introduction to and our taking of lesson 31, Insha'Allah ta'ala, we should be fully capable of identifying words and their sign of i'rab. Any word that's mu'rab, and words are either mabni or mu'rab. We didn't really talk about the mabniyat yet. But anything that's mu'rab, and you can do i'rab on it, we should be able to make i'rab on it, meaning not necessarily identified as a fa'il, or maf'ul mutlaq, or tamyiz, or hal, or those matters which are coming later. But we should be able to say alamatu raf'ihi al-dhamma, alamatu raf'ihi al-alif, alamatu raf'ihi al-waw, alamatu nasbihi al-kasra. Can that ever be alamatu nasbihi al-kasra? No. You sure? Alamatu nasbihi al-kasra. No such thing as alamatu nasbihi al-kasra. I made that up. You know I do that sometimes just to check you, but
Absolutely.
okay.
I've
There's nothing alamatu nasbihi al-kasra?
No.
And sometimes I'll do a double reverse psychology on you too, so watch out for that one. There is alamatu nasbihi al-kasra. Istayqidhu. Right now I'll ask you to do this since we're right there. Fill in on our table today. You can follow along on page 138 of your workbook, the Ajurrumiya workbook, resource 31. In this table we have here, where it says Jam' Mu'annath Salim, it's the third row down. See it? You got one, Nafis? Jam' Mu'annath Salim. Go over to where it's mansub and give me a mithal. Write a sentence that gives an example of Jam' Mu'annath Salim mansub. Do it right now. Then I'll ask you to read it once you write it. All right, we got it? We got an example. Single sentence for Jam' Mu'annath Salim mansub. Go ahead, ya Nafisu.
Ra'aytul Muslimat.
Ra'aytul Muslimat. What's on your ta there? A kasra. So that means what do you have there? Muslimat. Jam' Mu'annath Salim mansub. Wa alamatu nasbihi al-kasra. So here's my point. By now you should know that. By now you should know if I say there's a word alamatu nasbihi al-kasra, you should know if that's a thing or not a thing. You should be able to say that doesn't exist or that does exist. And at this stage you can't be confused about that. Otherwise, moving forward in al-Ajurrumiya is going to get a little bit more difficult than it needs to be. So let's get some review in and make sure we got this down. Sultan, is there such a thing as alamatu raf'ihi ar-ra'?
No.
Ar-ra' is not even anywhere in our radar, right? That sounds crazy to you, right? Saying alamatu nasbihi or alamatu jarrihi ar-ra'. Understand, I mean, that's something, that means something because you've been paying attention. And it might seem ridiculous, but the point is, you're zoned in on a certain, limit of letters and harakat that are your signs of i'rab. So if I said to you, give me, ya Nafis, give me fi'l mudari' alamatu nasbihi qaf. I mean, it's right away you just say that's not even possible. We're not even thinking about that, right? So then you're able to say, okay, there's a whole lot we can eliminate here and not accept. But that means, though, you do have to be able to identify what is a real thing. There is a word, alamatu nasbihi al-kasra. Is that right, Jibril? Alamatu nasbihi al-kasra. That's a real thing, right? Or no? No, you fell for it just like they did. Tayyib, where is it, ya Jibril? Jam' Mu'annath Salim. Barakallahu feekum. Real quick, like things like this, we should be able to do it. Look on the chart. You should be able to pick any of these 8 things on the right side, and any of the 4 columns you should be able to use an example from that category. So that should be 32 different ways to show i'rab. 8 times 4, right? 32 different things. Now some of them will have an X because there's no such thing as an ism that's majzoom. So, I mean, out of a possible 32, you have 20-some places. All right, let's look at it. On our resource, we have the first thing says ism mufrad. Before I go to this, I really want to just set that up to draw your interest to it, but we haven't read the lesson, so let's make sure we read the lesson first. lesson 30 that we're going to review. It is وَالَّذِي يُعْرَبُ بِالْحُرُوفِ أَرْبَعَةُ أَنْوَاعٍ. We read this in our last class. The things that are the sign of i'rab is a letter. And he says huruf here, huruf letters, not what? As opposed to harakat. The previous two lessons were about harakat as alamatul i'rab. So now, aside from those things, alamatul i'rab fiha harakat, now we have huruf. There are four types. A tathniyah, and last time we said that tathniyah means what? Asma or af'al or both? Asma only. طيب. وجمع المذكر السالم. جمع المذكر سالم. We know what that is, right? Every jama' that what? It ends with waw and noon. Or ya and noon if it's mansub or majroor, right? والأسماء الخمسة. And those are a very limited number of words, right? What are they, Hanif?
Abuka, Hamuki,
Hamuki, all right.
Akuka,
وأخوك
Fuk,
وفوك وفوك طيب
Wahuma,
وذو مال. Nice يا حنيف, بارك الله فيك. Those are the أسماء خمسة. Nice. والأفعال الخمسة. These are called the أمثلة خمسة. And they're named for you right there in the text. وهي يفعلان وتفعلان ويفعلون وتفعلون وتفعلين. Named for you. Now, it's strange that he's already referred to the أفعال خمسة, but now is when he actually introduces them to you and gives them to you in a list here. That was our last class. All right, so we established some basics on those. Now we're going to look at the details of that and combine lessons 28, 29, 30, and 31 all on this table that I've given you. طيب, so today's lesson is lesson 31, page 39 with us. فَأَمَّا التَّثْنِيَّةِ. And as for tathniyah, meaning this is to explain the details of lesson 30. As for tathniyah, فَتُرْفَعُ بِالْأَلِفِ. It's marfu' with an alif. Example, جاء الرجلان. جاء الرجلان. تثنية الأسماء. وتنسب وتخفض بالياء. Like what? Use رجلان. تنسب. Give me رجلان منسوب.
رجلان منسوب.
Yeah. In a sentence. Like رأيت.
رأيت رجلان.
الرجلين. Right. الرجلين. منسوب with a ya. Not an alif. The author says, فَأَمَّا التَّثْنِيَةُ فَتُرْفَعُ بِالْأَلِفِ وَتُنْسَبُ وَتُخْفَضُ بِالْيَاءِ. That alif changes to a ya. So, رَأَيْتُ الرَّجُلَيْنِ. Not الرَّجُلَانِ. Name ya Sultan. What about marartu? Sultan again. Come on. Marartu بالرجلين. Again, same as the nasb. It's the same sign. The ya is the sign of the i'rab. The noon is not the sign of the i'rab. Don't get confused. The noon is closer to the end. It is the last letter. But the noon is not the sign of the i'rab. Noon is a sign of i'rab in some words. But not in tathniyatul asma. It's either the alif or the ya. Clear? Then he says, وَأَمَّا جَمْعُ الْمُذَكَّرِ السَّالِمِ. And as for جمع مذكر سالم فَيُرْفَعُ بِالْوَاوِ وَيُنْصَبُ وَيُخْفَضُ بِالْيَاءِ. Resembles the tathniyatul asma a little bit because mansub and majroor, they sign as a ya, but the sign of rafa is a waw. Real quick, Abba Maryam, give me an example of jam' mudhakkar salim in a sentence. Marfu'. Nice. Al-Muslimuna ba'duhum awliya'u ba'din. So the word is al-Muslimuna, and he didn't say al-Muslimina. Al-Muslimuna is a mubtada here. It's marfu'. Alamatu raf'ihi what? Al-waw. Right? These are huruf, not harakat. Remember, everything we're talking about now is huruf, letters, not harakat. Alright, the same thing, al-Muslimun. Jibril, give me an example of mansub for the word Muslimun. Ra'aytu al-Muslimina. The waw from al-Muslimun changed to a ya, al-Muslimina. It's not a ya with a fatha before it, because that would make it Muslimaini. That would make it tathniya. So this is a ya with a kasra before it. Ra'aytu al-Muslimina. And the noon after it has a fatha, not a kasra like in tathniya. Al-Muslimina. So then Hanif, give me majroor. The word Muslimun, majroor.
Marartu bi Muslimin.
مررت بمسلمين. Okay. مررت not بمسلمون but بمسلمين. It's مجرور بحرف جر باء. علامة جره
Oh yeah.
الياء. Nice. الياء. And we also say الياء نيابة.
And الفتح.
What he said. What Jibril said. نيابة عن الكسرة. العلامة الأصلية للخفض هي الكسرة. نعم. Then, so the author then says, وَأَمَّا الْأَسْمَاءُ الْخَمْسَةُ. As for الأسماء الخمسة فَتُرْفَعُ بِالْوَاوِ وَتُنْسَبُ بِالْأَلِفِ وَتُخْفَضُ بِالْيَاءِ. So we've got three different ways that the i'rab shows up. Each one is a harf and not a harakah. It's a wow, it's an alif, it's a ya. These are huruf today, right? So مثل يا حنيف مثل لاسم من الأسماء الخمسة مرفوع. جاء أبوك. Nice. جاء أبوك. So أبوك here is اسم من الأسماء الخمسة مرفوع. What else? علامة
رفعه واو.
الواو نيابة
الضم.
عن الضمة. نيابة عن الضمة. أحسنت. بارك الله فيك. سلطان, ready? وتنسب بالألف. Give me أبوك. Change it to منسوب.
رأيت أباك.
رأيت أباك. طيب. رأيت أباك. So أباك here is an اسم من الأسماء الخمسة منسوب. و
علامة نصبه الألف.
yeah. نيابة
نيابة الفتح
عن الفتحة. أحسنت يا سلطان. ما شاء الله. اللهم بارك. ويا أبا مريم, give us this أبوك. مخفوض.
زرت بيت أبيك.
Oh, okay. زرت بيت أبيك. بالإضافة he goes مخفوض. And so then أبيك here is اسم من الأسماء الخمسة مخفوض. وعلامة
خطه الياء.
الياء.
نيابة عن الكسر.
أحسن. نيابة عن الكسرة. Nice. So we're sort of connecting our علامة الإعراب, which is a harf, back to the usul. All of the usul are harakat. So we're connecting our haruf back to our harakat. This is a very nice review lesson. The way that the author laid it out to come to this point and then go back and review everything that's preceded in a different way of organizing the ideas. It's very nice. It's very, very nice. طيب, then the author says, وَأَمَّا الْأَفْعَالُ الْخَمْسَةُ وَأَمَّا الْأَفْعَالُ الْخَمْسَةُ. As for the five af'al, these are called the amthilatul khamsa. They've been named. Go back in lesson 30. وَهِيَ يَفْعَلَانِ وَتَفْعَلَانِ وَيَفْعَلُونَ وَتَفْعَلُونَ وَتَفْعَلِينَ. That's who they are. Alright, فَتُرْفَعُ بِالنُّونِ وَتُنْسَبُ وَتُجْزَمُ بِحَذْفِهَا أي بِحَذْفِ النُّون. So give me an example then of الأفعال الخمسة. مرفوع. الرجل مثل. Complete the sentence. الرجال ماذا يفعلون؟ الرجال, what they doing? يقرأان. الرجال يعني ثلاثة وما فوق. يقرؤون. الرجال يقرؤون. طيب, يقرؤون أعرب. فعل مضارع مرفوع
وعلامة رفعه
الواو. وعلامة رفعه الواو. But Ibn al-Ajurrum, he says here, وَأَمَّا الْأَفْعَالُ الْخَمْسَةُ فَتُرْفَعُ بِالنُّونِ.
بالثبوت النون.
What's going on?
الأفعال الخمسة.
طيب. إذن صححت نفسك. فعلامة رفعه النون أو ثبوت النون or ثبات النون. Any of that's fine. طيب. Let's go to منسوب يا حنيف. مثل لفعل من الأفعال الخمسة منسوب. Use the same example, just make it منسوب. الرجال.
الرجال لن
Then he said يقرؤون. الرجال لن
يقرؤوا.
يقرؤوا. Leave the wow there. And we take the noon off. The noon is a sign of i'rab, and the absence of the noon is a sign of i'rab. So we call this, first of all, الرجال أعرب. الرجال اسم طيب مرفوع. الرجال okay مرفوع. علامة
رفعه الضمة.
الضمة. طيب نيابة. It's no نيابة. It's a ضمة. طيب لن يقرأوا. أعرب يقرأوا.
يقرأ فعل مضارع.
فعل مضارع. منصوب. علامة نصبه.
حذف النون.
حذف النون. حذف النون. نعم حذف النون. طيب بارك الله فيك. That's it. حذف النون. Yeah, Sultan, you ready to do the مجزوم? الرجال. Just add لم instead of لن for the مستقبل, negation for the future. Make it لم, negation for the past. لم
يسجدوا.
لم يسجدوا يعني الكفار لم يسجدوا. نعم الرجال قد سجدوا. أيوة الرجال قد سجدوا والله لكن الكفار لم يسجدوا. لم يسجدوا. أعرب يسجدوا. نعم
فعل مضارع.
فعل المضارع.
جزم.
مجزوم.
علامة جزمه.
علامة جزمه.
نون.
نون. There's no noon. You took a noon off. What are you talking about? You said lam yasjudu. You didn't say lam yasjuduna. Lam yasjudu. You took the noon away. There's no noon. How can it be an alama? Lam yasjudu.
لم يسجدوا.
You said فعل مضارع مجزوم علامة جزمه حذف النون. حذف النون. أحسنت بارك الله فيك وجزاكم الله خيرا. On the paper now. That's the text. We studied the text. On the paper now. Go to اسم مثنى. Fifth one down. اسم مثنى. You can follow along on page 138 of your workbook, the Ajurrumiya workbook, resource 31. Go to اسم مثنى. Fifth one down. اسم مثنى. And go over to the last column, مجزوم, and write an example in there for اسم مثنى مجزوم. Oh, Hanif just writes a big X. أحسنت يا Hanif. That's what I had too. We have the same answer, a big X. Why? We're asking for an ism that's مجزوم. لا يوجد. That's not possible. طيب. Then go one row over to مخفوض and write in an example from yourself. Something we haven't used today. اسم مثنى مخفوض. Each one of you write something different. Then we'll hear it. You got your sentence there, Abba Maryam? What's your sentence? مررت برجلين. Isn't that the one we already used?
I've used it too, so we're both.
Oh, okay. I wanted something unique and fantastic, but that's good. It fits. زرت. زرت بالبيتين. What's this bat here for? I don't know a زيارة بالشيء. I know a زيارة بالسيارة, using an آلة, a وسيلة. الله أكبر الله أكبر. مشيت مع الشيخين. من هما؟ طيب ما شاء الله. مشيت مع الشيخين. طيب ممتاز. شيخين is اسم مثنى مخفوض علامة خفضه ماذا؟ الياء. نيابة. نعم أحسنت بارك الله فيك. What you got, Sultan? You had that. Right. Jibril, you got something unique and original?
قرأت في سورة الرحمن مرج البحرين. الآية
مرج البحرين. This is مخفوض. مرج فعل ماضي. البحرين مفعول. ها؟ سبحت في البحرين. طيب. Amazing. طيب, at least that's exotic and exciting. Instead of passing by two guys over and over again. جزاكم الله خيرا. طيب. for homework, fill out all of this, put an X over the places you cannot give an example for, and fill out the whole table. Tayyib, can you do that for tomorrow? Yeah, inshallah, for tomorrow. And tomorrow we start a new chapter. We turn a new leaf. Literally and figuratively. Lesson 32 is 3 basic verb tenses. We're going to talk about af'al, madiya, mudari'ah, amr. And we're going to get into now conjugation. Going to get into al-af'al, and then we'll get into asma, and we'll get into the mansubat, and we'll get into the nawasib, and we'll get into all the good stuff. The real application of this nice muqaddimah that we got so far. We got the muqaddimah of the muqaddimah, al-ajurumiyah, and now we have about 2/3 left. May Allah Ta'ala make it easy for us and grant us success. Wallahu a'lam wa salli Allahumma wa sallam wa barik ala nabiyyina Muhammadin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in.